Well, let me start by saying that let me give you a little bit of the backstory. Susan has been profoundly deaf since essentially birth. Sometime in her infancy or toddler years, mostly infancy, she became profoundly deaf, both ears. And so she's spent her life using the different technologies to help her hearing increase, get better, get the best that she could. She started out with, like when she was in school, she used body aids, which was a large hearing aid that hung around her neck, and then she had headphones that went into her ears. Her teachers often had broadcast, or transmitters that they would wear that would transmit directly to her body aid. And then as she got older, she's used various types of behind-the-ear hearing aids. We've tried different analog ones. We've gone to digital ones. We've tried a digital one. She didn't like that very much because I got a hold of the remote and would play with it and change her hearing environment, and she didn't think that was funny. When she was a child, she did not learn to sign, even though she was profoundly deaf. She was mainstreamed. She went through regular schools her entire life. She learned to lip read and speak very normally. She's always wanted to get a cochlear implant, but for various reasons, for the past 8 years or so, that she was told she couldn't get one. She was too old, or she had been wearing hearing aids her whole life, so she wasn't a good candidate. But so finally we went through all the testing. Everything looks like she's good. She's a good candidate. So Dr. Gerard at the Cleveland Clinic of Abu Dhabi, who's done quite a few implants, is going to give it a shot. This will be the first cochlear implant done at the Cleveland Clinic of Abu Dhabi, and Susan's excited about it. So we're going to just put one cochlear implant in on the right side, which is her worst ear. She's definitely a fighter, and she's taught herself to lip read and get along in the world, and been very successful for her entire life. So I'm really curious to see how she does close to full hearing, at least in one ear. She's going to be close to a superwoman, because right now she's just about like Wonder Woman. We're about 2 weeks out, if it all goes as planned.
I hope that it gives me more hearing than I ever had before. I hope that I will stop missing out on so much, maybe. I hope that the kids can feel like they can talk freely in the car. What was your reaction when you heard that I was going to get a cochlear implant?
I didn't really have one.
What do you think will happen?
There'll be a few months where it'll be kind of irritating to kind of have to say everything a few times and get you reacquainted to the noises that you'd known. But then after that, I think everything should go back to normal.
Well, isn't normal relative, because you're already having to repeat things for me anyway?
Yeah.
What I think about Mom getting a cochlear ear implant is that it will help it would help her a lot more, and being able to get information easier and not having to ask us to repeat things multiple times. That's a plus for us. Yeah. What do you think about Mom getting the cochlear ear implant?
I'm fairly scared.
Why?
Because it's scary to get surgery and all that stuff, and yeah.
What about for afterwards?
Well, I know that she might not be able to go swimming. I know that she'll be bald for a while, like half bald.
All right, so what do you think about Mom getting a cochlear ear implant?
I'm really happy for her.
Are you going to miss getting drug into her phone conversations?
No. I'm definitely looking forward to not having to be the go-to person to talk on the phone, because I hate talking on the phone.
So what do you imagine the surgery is going to be like?
Oh, they're gonna cut a little bit of the hair off for the section up there doing surgery. They're gonna take a bone drill. Well, first they're gonna cut off some skin, like make a little slice for the skin. I feel like they're gonna take a bone drill and basically drill a few sections to put the machine in, and then put some bone paste in, then sew back the skin.
How big is the device, do you think?
About the size of like half the palm.
About half your palm?
Yes.
A poor result?
Mm-hmm.
A poor result would be to have a cochlear implant and still hear just as much as I did before. That would be a poor result. That would suck.
What would you be interested in knowing about this?
If it works or not.
What's the worst could happen?
The worst that could happen is she gets the cochlear ear implant and it doesn't work and it damages her ear further. But since she's such a good candidate for the cochlear ear implant, I'd say that chances are looking pretty good. I'm not really worried about that at all.
I suppose a bad result for the implant would be if she gets the implant and it either has to be removed again, or we've spent $160,000, through the insurance, and it doesn't do anything for her. That she can't hear anything better, or that her frustration level is just so high that it actually makes quality of life worse. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that we're optimistic about this, that they've got some pretty incredible technology now, and so I think that we can be hopeful and that it's going to be a good result.
Yeah, what do you worry the most about the surgery?
That it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
That in order to do this, they have to destroy the rest of my hearing in this ear. I'm worried that for whatever reason, it doesn't work. Do you have any worries about this?
Not particularly.
No, I think the thing that I'm not so worried about the surgery itself. I think I'm mostly worried that something will happen to prevent it from being done. If they'll get in there and say, oh, look, we can't do this.
I worry that she'll be in a bit of a bad mood for the year while she's learning how to figure out what we're saying. So that I kind of worry that she's just going to be like grouchy for a year, but that's basically it.
But it's going to take a lot of intensive rehab, speech therapy, and the doctor said it would take anywhere from 6 months to a year before I really train my brain on what all the sounds are.
And the only thing that I'm really worried about, but not, even that isn't that big, is if that ear goes deaf, but even then we'll manage to deal with it.
Are you worried about it, like, for afterwards?
I want to go swimming with her.
Is that your only concern?
Yes.
Definitely hoping it works out for her. I'm afraid that she might have pain. I don't know how much residual pain there can be, within the ear or from the surgery. The surgery itself, yeah, it's going to hurt. I mean, they're going to cut her skull open, so there's going to be the wound from that and having to get it stitched up and everything put back together. But I just hope that she doesn't experience pain down inside her ear, because that'd be frustrating. Retraining her brain once we get it turned down, that's going to be a little bit frustrating as well. But I think she can work through that. I mean, it'll be short-term frustration, but in the long term, I think it'll be a lot better.
I'm a little bit worried about how I know the doctor has already warned us about the frustration level, and that I'm going to get easily frustrated, and I'm worried about how my frustration will affect the family. They've dealt with it before, when I got frustrated because I really misunderstood something or didn't hear something correctly. But I think the frustration level is going to ramp up a lot, and I hope I can keep a handle on it.
Sure, you do fine. But
Well, I'm hoping that it opens up more of the world for me. I know I'll never get to 100%. It'd be great if I could get to 85%. That'd be fantastic. It'd be great if it's anything over 50 to 60% of the conversation I've been getting.
So the best result we can think of with the cochlear implant is that she'll be able to hear everything at volume and clearly enough to understand it.
What do you hope for her out of it?
I hope for Mom to be able to understand us easier and be able to talk on the phone.
She'll be able to hear.
I hope that after she learns what sounds are what's with the cochlear ear implant, that she's much happier with her hearing and she's much happier with life overall.
What do you hope for you out of it?
For Mom, I hope for Mom to be able to talk on the phone so she won't have to drag me into the conversation.
I won't have to repeat words.
What do you hope to get out of it?
Nothing really for me. I mean, she can hear again,
Will that help you?
I guess.
What do you think will happen a few months down the road?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to see a lot of it because after a few months, after all, I'll be in college. I mean, but at that point, you should be able to hear stuff over the phone, so we could have conversations.
Okay, so does that mean you're calling me from college?
No.
Why? Do you anticipate that I'll be able to hear better or about the same?
Well, I assume that you'll be able to hear better since, well, you're getting surgery for it. I don't know. It doesn't really affect me too much.
Well, how do you think the hearing problem has affected our relationship?
I can't say that it has. I mean, you've always had this problem, so I wouldn't know what it would be like without it. And we've always had to just work around it and taken that for granted.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Hi, Grandma.
Some good girl.